Welcome to Life It Just Keeps On Going podcast. And today, this is our fourth episode that we're going to be talking about law of attraction. I'm here today very happily with Charlotte and Melissa Abel. And we're going to keep talking about law of attraction, but we're going to do a little bit of a recap here first off. And first, I'm just going to say good morning to you guys.
Good morning. Happy to be here again with you, Jim. Thank you.
Good morning.
Delighted to have this opportunity again to speak with you.
I want to get started off with you, Melissa. If you could just give us a little kind of an overview of law of attraction, and then just we can talk real briefly about the things that we've already covered, and then go right into what you're calling I think it's special sauce.
The secret sauce.
The secret sauce.
We've covered a bit of law of attraction already in that why should we care about it? Like, why should we? It's because we're under the influence of it, just like the law of gravity. Whether we care about it or not, it affects us every day, all day. And so with the law of attraction, I used to just think it was a bunch of hokum, and it just took me a while to get on board with it. And so it's basically how your thoughts and what you focus on and what you spend your time and energy on, they turn to things. And so whatever you're focused on, you get more of that. So if you're focused on what isn't going right, what isn't flowing, what you don't like, you'll get more of that. There is no. And if you're focused on, oh, this is really flowing, this is working out for me, this is what I love to feel like, it's a happy, beautiful day, then you get more of that. And so it goes as you get the hang of it. And there's all sorts of tips and tricks to kind of get you having fun with it. The guides that we work with say, make it a game, be playful with it, and have some fun. So that's why we're here. And today's secret sauce episode is really going to be juicy, and it's our favorite.
And we have to really make it a habit, right?
Oh, yeah. Just like how every day we don't get up and try to jump off our roof thinking that maybe the law of gravity went away overnight. We're always under the influence, and we respect it, and we weave it into our everyday living.
I just want to lend credibility to law of attraction by saying myself that I also was very hesitant and squeamish about it, and my daughter tried to get me into it a long time ago, and I couldn't grasp it, but it really works. And Charlotte, I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how it has affected your life.
The way it has affected my life is in every way. I find that using the law of attraction and remembering that I am creating my world through this, it's like to get up and be happy. I have this thing where, I have another day, the pleasure of being Charlotte Abel, one more day. And it just kind of sets the tone. And the exercises that the guides have given us to incorporate the joy of life and seeing the magic of everything, the beauty that is around us. It's like being appreciative of that and just gathering it up and it's a sincere thing. It just is the way I roll, and it's wonderful. It's really changed my life. It really has.
Melissa, could you give us a little bit of either, I don't know if you want to go with a little bit of summary of the tips and tricks we had before, or whether you want to move on to the secret sauce?
Yeah, I think just to summarize some of the tips and tricks is to mention that it's not like you have to, they always say, believe it and then you'll see it, which I think is difficult, especially when we're mired in confusion or chaos or something going wrong, or we've had a loss or some grief. One of the things that I never realized until I did was that if you have 10 things in your life and 7 really suck, but 3 are going pretty well, if you just focus more on the ones that are flowing and going well, that flow will convey to those other 7 areas. If you focus on the 7 that aren't going well, then that flow or lack of will flow to the other 3 that had up to that point been going okay. So
you can positively affect the ones that aren't going well just by focusing on the ones that are going well. Is that right?
Precisely, because it's all vibration. When we realize we're vibrational beings, everything is energy, almost like we're a magnet. So anything we focus on for 17 seconds or longer, it's going to start gathering up more of the same. So if we're focused on doom and gloom, the sky is falling, and woe is me, and I'm not enough, well, more of that, please. Every shameful memory we've ever had, every inadequacy will come up, and there we are. Whereas if it's like focusing on, oh my gosh, I got up, it's a beautiful day, I got myself upright and dressed, and the bed is even made, and look at that. It's a beautiful day. What would I like to create? And what is my wonderment for the day? That's another thing we talked about, was wonderment. If you just set your frequency like a radio dial in the morning and fill yourself with that feeling of wonderment, every cell, and then lock it in like you're locking in your favorite radio station, then wonderment will chase you and find you the whole rest of the day. And that's just been super magical.
But if you're a beginner in this, it's okay if you're not focusing on wonderment every minute.
Oh, precisely. And we all get caught up in, we're driving, and all of a sudden our thoughts go down this road of like, where it just, what do we fail at, what wasn't going well? And I think it's great when you just observe, when you're first starting out, just observe where your thoughts are, and then kind of analyze your beliefs. Why would I think this day isn't going to turn out? Or why would I think this? Start exploring. And then the fact that you're catching yourself and you're even that aware, you're off and running, really.
To me, I think that being aware of how you're feeling is a huge thing. Because like you said, you're going, all your mind, our minds just go where they want to go. And we don't always have to listen to them, though. We can direct them. We can say to them, hey, I'm not going to think about the mean thing that guy said to me 10 years ago, which sometimes my mind will actually do that. I'll be thinking about something like, where did that come from? I can't believe it. But if you're aware of it, then you can say, no, I'm not going to think that. I'm going to switch over. And that's, I think, the start of your ability to move forward with the law of attraction. And using the technique that we talked about in a previous one, where we're saying, I like it like that. Where you don't, if you're not always thinking about it, but you realize, you can realize when something's going really well. When something's like, wow, this is really awesome. I'm with my family, we're all having a great time. And then just recognize it and say, I like it like this, right? I have gratitude for this. This is what I like. And then, please, universe, give me more of this. Give me more of that. How about you, Charlotte? You've probably been doing this for a while. You probably don't remember when you're getting started.
Exactly. Actually, this morning, I started to ruminate about how I got this thing from the Medicare ARP or whatever that said we're super agers. And I feel like I am a super ager. And I thought, well, how did I get to this place? And it's a positive view of life. And to go back and think of where it began, I've always pursued some kind of spiritual, metaphysical thing to take me to the next level, even though at the time doing it, I really wasn't aware of the depth of what it was I was doing. And then looking back at all the high frequency energy that we carried and the different things that we did, it's like, that's got to be part of it, like being in a higher frequency to kind of keep your body in good stead and just keep you going. And so I remember way back and before my first Saturn return at age 30, I did have a kind of a rubble, a kind of a life. And yet after that, it was the honest and endeavor of pursuing all these spiritual things through astrology, through breath work, through just the multiple things that I've been involved in. So I think my body's just carrying all this good stuff. I'll be an elder next month and I figure as a Sagittarian person, that gives me a heads up or a step up to be able to be more positive about the way things will turn out, because it's like looking at a bigger picture and following the path to the big picture instead of the little mealy things in life.
I'm always thinking of law of attraction as helping me psychologically and having the events that are out there in my life being better. But you just touched on something about physically can help you.
Oh, yeah. To be in a high frequency for the most part all the time, you figure, things go easier. You're into the synchronicity of life. You're being aware of all the goodness that's there. And incredibly, it just seems to me that the colors and the beauty is even more enhanced than normal. And maybe it's because you are aware of it or you notice it, or that's part of you going out there to just welcome in the wonderment of what life is about on earth. It's like being in this magnificent body and rolling and just looking for good things.
Sounds great to me. Melissa, tell us a little bit about our next lesson that we're going to learn in this series about law of attraction, which is the secret sauce.
So the secret sauce. This is something that has come to us within the last month. The guides brought this, and it was in a reading that I was doing, and they brought it through, and they said, this wink, wink, draw closer, coming closer. This, listen carefully. This is the secret sauce, and it's a game. And they said, just start playing it and see what happens. And so, oh my gosh, in that few weeks that we've been playing this, as well as that person who got the reading, as well as a few others, it's just like there's no way to even describe it. And it sort of takes care of many layers of law of attraction and integrating it. So drum roll, trumpet fanfare, is it time to talk about the game?
It is. Release it.
Release it. So the game is called What I Like About You. And there was that song, I think it was from the 70s, the Romantics, What I Like About You, a rock song. They say play that just to get yourself, it's like a mantra. So wherever you go and whatever you're doing and whoever you're seeing or whatever your eyes are focused on, you just think to yourself, what I like about you is... You're in the grocery store or you're waiting at a traffic light and all these cars are coming around. What I like about you is. And at first we thought, oh, well, that's just something you're thinking in your mind. And then it slipped out at Target. I was in Target and the cashier was so incredible, kind. I said, oh my gosh, what I like about you is your kindness. And you would have thought that I had just given her $1 million. Her whole face changed. She lit up. It was just absolutely incredible to behold. And my other friend that's been playing it had the same experience in the post office. So it's funny how when you actually say the words, what I like about you is, it could be somebody's pants, it could be their car, it could be their eyebrows, it could be anything. But it just, what it does is it gets you, your mind is always seeking now, what do you like about everything? And I know I was riding my motorcycle the other day, and I was passing all these beautiful farms. And I just was like, oh, what I like about you is you're charming and you're so well tended and you're beautiful. So even now with places and the other day I happened to be getting some water from my refrigerator. Oh my gosh, refrigerator, what I love about you is it's just you give me water. I don't even have to open I love my refrigerator. So it sounds like I've gone crazy because everything, though, is energy. And what I found is that there's no more judgment coming from me, where I might have even had pity or compassion upon seeing a certain person of, maybe a homeless person feeling pity and sorrow. It's just like, you're rocking that mini dress like a champ. What I like about you is. And so I just find that I don't have that judgment filter anymore. And also, randomly, I've been getting random emails and texts from people that I haven't heard from in like 40 years saying, I was just thinking about you and just how awesome you are and how funny you are and how open-hearted you are. Like, I'm getting unsolicited feedback of what people like about me. So what I've found is just pure bliss lately, just pure bliss and a lot more energy. It's just a refocusing. And as the guides have pointed out, the more that we play this game and pass it along, the more there is less hate in the world, the more there is more to love. And also law of attraction, the more we focus on what we like, what I like, the more we get to like. It's just a win-win-win for from every angle. I cannot say enough about it.
Well, let me just jump in a little bit on that, because we're at a time here in November of 2024, and there are some people in the United States that are feeling that perhaps the less fortunate in this country may not be looked out for as we're going forward, and there's worry about that. But this is one aspect where each of us individually, day in and day out, can bring some joy and love and happiness to other people that we don't have to know them. We can just talk to them for a moment and pass on this, or we can think it and we can send out that energy as well. We have the power within us, every single person, to put out that energy, and we'll benefit, but also others around us will benefit. There's a fellow at the gym that I go to, and he says hello to everyone. He makes a joke with them. His goal is to make this gymnasium full of strangers to be like a big family. And I just watch in such amazement at how uniformly he is accepted and welcomed. People out in this world are not, don't talk to me, stay away from me. We all kind of think to ourselves, oh, I shouldn't say anything to this person, what are they going to think? But I can tell you that this person's message of, hey, how's it going? You know, you're looking good today. And I mean, it doesn't take much, but I see these smiles coming to all these people, and it's a really beautiful thing. And so just what you mentioned is that what I like about you. And also I think that there are times when I do find myself going directly to a negative thought. I'll have a negative reaction, and that's natural. Right? I mean, we've lived our lives and we can have one thought or another about a situation or a person. But if we can start looking for the good, then that can become our modus operandi, right? That can be our way. And how wonderful that is. And little did I know that people from far away would be kind of getting that energy from you, right? I mean, you've been welcomed by that. And Charlotte, have you been doing the What I Like About You?
I have, Jim.
Well,
And I was just thinking about the other night I went to a show with some of my friends, and we all had the class where we learned about what I like about you. And I was amazed at how I would think it with different people, like in an audience, but I wouldn't, it wasn't the appropriate way to go up to somebody and talk in the show. But afterwards, we went to a restaurant, and then we went to a market, and we went to a bakery. I mean, we had a day of it. And the little girl who was running the cash register at the grocery store, she had a mask on. So the only thing that you could see was her beautiful eyes, you know, and so what I like about you, so beautiful eyes. And you could just see this light up underneath the mask. And then at the grocery store to do with this young man, you know, they have all these, to me, little teenagers, I guess, running the registers at the supermarket, and he had on this shirt. It was like 100-year anniversary, and what I like about you is that shirt. I didn't know you were 100 years old. It was so cute, you know, to kind of look him in the eye and recognize him. And I think that's what it's about. It's like you recognize someone else, you see them, and you're open enough to say something to them, and something beautiful, something nice, something to help them get to really like themselves. It's like, oh, wow, I'm glad I put these false eyelashes on today. You know, they did the trick.
You're recognizing their value.
Their value, they are there, you know, and you recognize them, and you have that smile and just the niceness, and I think it's the gentleness too, you know, that you approach this. And even people that are in the grocery store, you know, we're all set on our ways and looking for the right thing, and every now and then somebody will help you get something off a top shelf. You know, and it's just so wonderful. What I like about you is you're so tall and you're so kind, you know, kind of thing. So it's part and parcel that I'm learning really to do more and more and more. I think it's a muscle that you kind of exercise and get it going. And once it's going, you're not going to stop it. you know.
What I'd love to visit upon, the guides are so clever. When I was post-shower today getting ready, I always just let these random clips come up. And it was one of those quick podcasts, like 10 minutes. And it was an excerpt of a longer one. But basically, it's motivation. And yet, if we think about everything being energy, this particular podcast focused on this person who says, you always want to focus on when you're going to die, write your eulogy, keep reading it, because, you have to think every day what you might miss out on. You only have 20 or 30 years. When it was like this whole thing, I was like, that didn't feel very good to me. I'm thinking, no, I didn't worry about how I would come into this world. I'm not going to worry about how I'm going to leave this world. But the big point that he made, and this sort of pinged some kind of button in me. It didn't feel true to me. For myself. For him, yes. But he said, I'm sick and tired of all these books and podcasts and people saying that you're enough. He's like, you're not enough. We're not enough. And if we could be enough, if we would change. And then I'm thinking, like, how does that feel? And then I thought of myself telling my cat, you're not enough. Like, it just felt horrible. I would never want to say that to anybody, not an animal, a child, another person, least of all myself. You're not enough, Melissa. Maybe someday if you change enough. It's like, that is preposterous just from the energetic standpoint. So it's like, I think we've had enough of that. That's the old way of being. And of course, that would get you more of, you're not enough. And I'm thinking of someone who is in an addiction, and if they just keep hearing, you're not enough, you're doing okay, but it's just not enough. Maybe someday. Wouldn't that send you into a downward spiral? Like, oh, who cares? What's the use? I'm not enough.
Absolutely. How many people have been traumatized by parents and friends and family members saying, you're not enough? That's horrible.
I couldn't believe it. But yet the guides brought that pointedly for me today randomly so that I could remember, no, vibrationally, that just doesn't feel true. And when we're looking at what we love, even in the face of a lot of chaos and uncertainty, there's always something. And it just begets more and more of that. And, I remember having a tailgater, which isn't my favorite thing typically, but this person was so close to me. I looked in my rear mirror and I thought, what I like about you is your beautiful blonde hair and you've got a hot car. Just like, okay, let me see what I can like about this. And all of a sudden she just went way back. Like the tailgating ended. I was like, wow, this is secret sauce. This is magic. And it's just amazing how it just meets you where you are and it just really lifts you up and it just gets infectious and it feels like this happy and genuine contagion. I know this morning when I woke up, my cat had gotten back into bed to be all warm with me and I was just like, Twink, I just love everything about you. I love that you run like a horse and you're so sleek and you're so perfect. How could you be so perfect? I love everything about you. What a joy to have you in our lives and we're in your life. And it was just like, I could have gone on. And she just kind of batted her beautiful eyes at me. So it's just everywhere, everything. What is that movie? Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is what it feels like to me. And it's so genuine. Like, I just want you to know, like, it's not an airy-fairy sort of cliche or goody two-shoes or this flaky metaphysical stuff. It's not that at all. It really does feel like you just want to live large with life and be your passionate self and claim what is joyful to you. I was just listening to part of a podcast with Mike Dooley and Coot Blackson, and where Mike Dooley said one of the recipes or techniques for life is you just want to follow whatever lights you up. And to the best of your ability, this came through in a channeling. I think it was Bashar. Whatever it is, if you have choices for lunch, which thing is lighting you up more? And just keep applying that in every moment of every day. And to the best of your ability, put your focus on it and put your energy into it and see where life takes you. And so he said quite literally, we will have paradise on earth. And so here, let's sign. Where do we sign up? Where do we enlist?
Absolutely. Charlotte, do you have anything that you want to add right at that spot?
Of course. I think Melissa sums it up so well. And as you talk, I feel myself getting all excited about life and then thinking about some of the different things that to me just like resonate so much now. You just see beauty everywhere. And the things that maybe pained you before or had you in such criticism and judgment about others, which of course is judgment about yourself, it's like it's leaving and you catch yourself. Why am I in judgment of this? Who cares? It's just like look for what I love about it. So what I like about you is that you do these wonderful podcasts and you allow me to be part of it.
I second that notion.
Oh, thank you guys so much. We're really drawing towards our time on this episode. I just want to add one thing, which is I think that when people talk about what releases the hormones that make us feel good, is that endorphins?
Yeah.
That doing things for other people can release those, I believe. And that in this technique of what I like about you is you are showing kindness in your thoughts towards other people. You may or may not communicate it, but it is a genuine from me to you kind of an expression. And I think that the more we are in the habit of doing that day in and day out, the better we're going to feel, the stronger we're going to feel the energy. And I just think it's wonderful. So I thank you both very much for coming and talking about this secret sauce for Law of Attraction. And I hope that you'll talk more about spiritual things with me.
Indeed.
Indeed, Jim, the guides just brought in a little phrase, and they're just saying, consider yourself now a joy-seeking missile.
I like that. Yeah, a joy-seeking missile. That's me.
That's me.
Isn't that neat? A joy-seeking missile. Because really, there is so much joy that we can furnish ourselves.
Absolutely.
We don't have to worry about other people.
Exactly.
They're giving it to us. It's coming right from here.
Yes.
And right from the collective.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.